update on the 138 XLR. Okay, earlier I said that the audio sounded gruffy, just kind of out of control, like maybe somebody bit into the modulation circuit, took out a shunt transistor or whatever, some diodes or whatever, and I have found that not to be the case, but still has really healthy audio. But anyway, it was gruffy, so I'll start back here. C179, it's a tantalum capacitor that goes between the driver and final here to ground. And there's 179 right there. So it was physically in there. All the blue stuff was blown off of it and everything. The casing for it and all that was gone, but it was there. As soon as I touched it, though, it just came apart. If I remember correctly, when you lose 179, I don't believe the radio keys up. Or maybe it keys up and it doesn't put out power. God, I don't remember. Anyway, whatever. So I don't have a tantalum in there, and I don't need to worry about that. So I just put in a nice 2.2 microfarad 50-volt capacitor. Put the coils back together as best as I could. And, well, I probably could have done better, but I didn't. Anyway, so I got them back together and got some readings here off of the biasing here. And I use, on this radio, and actually on all these 858 chassis, I use a service manual for Radio Shack TRC 449. And I like doing that because it has actually a troubleshooting section to it. So if I've got problems, I can revert back to that. However, I do remember there's being something going around out there that there was a service manual. I'm not sure if it was Sam's or whatever, that was incorrect on these readings here. And I think they wanted it at like 70 milliamps here and 40 or 45 over here, when it's actually like 45 and 15. So I brought these back down to where they're supposed to be and did our alignment. And the radio sounds 100% better. Well, okay, it sounds better, a lot better, I think. It still has really hot audio, but it's a lot better. And then I dialed it down to 3 watts. So I do 3 watts on my radios. This is just a personal preference. If I was going to sell this or do something like that, I'd probably do it at like 4, just leave it there. But I'm 3 watts because that's like what all my stuff's set at for purposes that we'll discuss later. Anyway, 3 watts AM dead key. Single sideband is 8 to 10 watts RMS, 14 to 16 watts PEP on the feel-good meter. Receive alignment's all complete. PL alignment's all done. Everything's done to the best of my ability with my ragtag equipment, but looking pretty good. And then I did the clarifier, but before I did the clarifier, everything was straight up 100%. Like clarifier was like straight on, dead nuts on. And then, so I went and did the clarifier mod on this. And then when you do the clarifier mod on this, and I don't know, it just seems to be the way these have always been. So there's like straight up on frequency. Like it's just north of 12 o'clock. So what I do is I pop the knob off and I put it back up to this. Okay. And the reason why I do that is because then when I'm in a mobile, then I know that that center slot is either just a T-hair on either side of this and we're good to go. And I do understand that folks have not moved this and then adjust with, whatever it is, CT 1, 2, and 3 and transmit frequency and all that. But the problem is when you do that, it'll throw this off, like upper sideband's slightly to one side, lower sideband slightly to the other side. Anyway, you've always got to be futzing with this, and I don't like to do that. And if there's a way to do that better than what I'm doing, that's fine. I mean, please school me. But I just don't like doing that because I run sideband, and I want everything to be as close as possible, especially for mobile. I guess I want to just dumb it down. So the deal is she's rock solid on frequency right there, AM, upper, lower sideband. I can go from lower to upper sideband. There's no varying at all. Everything's great. AM, no variance. Everything is exactly how it should be. All modes and functions work great. No problem. There was an issue with upper side. It didn't really sound right, but after we did the alignment, everything's all cool and all said and done. After it warmed up and I ran it for a while, I was having some segment issues here with the channel selector. And as usually what I do with, if somebody has a problem or I have a problem with segments missing, first thing I do is fire up the pen and just redo all the solder joints. And that fixed it. So that's like a 9.5 out of 10 times for me. I guess I just luck out in that respect. I pulled out a bunch of the unit and death glue, but this must be pre-death glue formula, because this is not conductive and it did not eat the legs of anything. It tarnished up the solder and made it look ugly underneath here. But so what I did is I pulled all of it out and redid the solder joints underneath. I had to redo solder joints here on the relay, transmit receive relay, because if I kind of yarded down on it, I could get it to act up. That's always kind of a thing. And then of course, these are like, to me, you know, this is my test, right? I go around the board and do this. If I don't get any pops, clicks, buzzes, nothing goes in or out, then I leave it. I usually leave it alone unless you actually physically see something, like maybe like on a transformer or something. I don't know. I mean, you know, you see that kind of stuff. Different radios do different things, and different companies run it through their solder batch or their solder faster or different than others. But anyway, this seems to be okay. So I'm going to call it good. I'm going to run this for a few days like this, and we'll just see. Maybe something will pop up. I don't really know. Again, I'm not really a fan of just replacing capacitors. I mean, I've seen them go out and I've seen them cause problems and all that, and that's fine. But I got to be honest with you, I'm just not from that camp. But I've seen a lot of these caps, you test them and they're just as good, if not better, than the Chinese ones I'm going to put back in there. So at this point, I'm just going to leave them alone. So everything's all good. So I can see, am I forgetting anything? I don't think so. Anyway, the meter kind of bugs me because it's in kind of cockeyed. Somebody broke the board or did something over here, because they were trying, I don't know if they just didn't know how to take this bezel off or anything, but anyway, it broke that. No problem, no worries, all that's good. It works just fine. But yeah, I mean, that kind of bothers me. And then the meter sitting cockeyed kind of bothers me. And I'm not sure if I'll get the right candle power back in there. I think I have some replacement, factory Cobra replacement somewhere. This seems to be just a hair dimmer than I remember these being, but I'm not really sure. I still don't think I'm going to put a white LED. I don't like that look in an cool old radio. This is not mint, but it's in decent shape. So if I decide to do that, maybe I'll take this, you know, the bezel will be off and I'll polish it and clean all this up. And what I like to do is thin down some of that awesome citrus cleaner from Dollar Tree, and then I'll soak the knobs in a cup for a few minutes of hot water and awesome mixture, and then I hit it with a toothbrush, and these things will look brand new. And if the orange is all goobered up, it'll usually make that all look good again, gets all this stuff out of here and everything. And then I'll spritz down the face and just let all the cigarette smoke or whatever's on it roll off of it. I'll lightly wipe it down, and that's usually good to go. And I'm sure this front piece will look better again. And then, of course, you know, you clean up the glass in there too. But we'll just see. Anyway, all modes and functions work. The radio's working pretty darn good right now, so I think that's kind of cool. It's missing L6, which is, I'm not sure if all these are missing L6. I know that most all of the TRC 449s are, so there's a reason why these get a little bit more bleed over, especially when the big super bowlers fire up. That's how you can tell if L6 is missing, I think. The super bowlers start firing up and you're on like lower 37 or something, and you'll hear something. The radio will act a little funky, and different radios do different things when you enact the noise blanker and A&L. Sometimes you'll see like a little ghost carrier come up when a super bowler's going or something like that. That's just because of the adjacent channel rejection. I'm going to leave it how it is for right now. But yeah, That's missing. That's actually supposed to be down in here behind that little wad right there. But anyway, I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so Cobra 138 XLR project is finished. She cleaned up pretty good. I may give the lids another helping, but the bezel polished up pretty good. This all came out really good. All the knobs look like brand new now. And maybe I'll show you guys how I do that in another video. But yeah, you can get these things looking pretty good. All of these marks and everything are just, you know, you can't get those out. And that's just not going to go. But anyway, all the dirt's gone. The finger goop is gone. All these are orange. This is the way they should be. Clarifier is one click to the left. So pretty much right there is center slot. And the orange spot should be like down here, and I have it right here, which is okay. Like I said earlier, I would rather have to pull that off and give it one click or two clicks over, but one click in this instance. The radios seem to vary a little bit, but anyway, I do that. So I do the factory alignment, do the clarifier unlock, and go back and recheck everything. Everything was right on, dead nuts on, looked good. So this is the way I like it. Otherwise, you know, like center slot's like right there, right? And I'm okay with it one notch off. I don't really care. I'm just looking to clarify a couple hundred hertz here, guys, because a lot of guys, you know, they're off like maybe 200 cycles, right? Or 100 cycles or whatever. So we don't need much slide. And again, I don't want a slider per se as just an unlock clarifier keeps you up with things. I know a lot of people dogged me about that, but this radio is 100% stock, and it's going to stay that way other than the unlock clarifier. All right. Unless I found a Digiscan or something. But anyway, there you go. The radio's great. Receive is great. Yeah, it's just a nice sounding radio. If you can find one of these, they're kind of fun to play around with, for sure. All right, we're going to get the other radio up on the bench. And yeah, if you guys have questions or comments, let me know. Oh, as you can see, I opted for the white LED in the meter. And I just did that just on a whim, actually. Actually, I was looking for a brighter incandescent bulb, and I couldn't find one. So I thought, you know, I'll just throw another white LED in here. And this LED is mounted in the factory little rubber grommet and everything. But I back the grommet out about halfway so the light is equal. If you stuff them in all the way, they get really bright here and they're dead over here. So I usually back them out about halfway, and I'll give it one little drop of stupor glue on there. I don't want to make it 100% permanent, but I don't want it to jiggle around. But if it ever needs to be serviced down the road, it can be. The meter is remounted in here the proper way. We had a couple wires that were we had a wire that was coming off the PA, and somebody's been working the faceplate back and forth, and that would explain that broken piece of PC board in there. But anyway, she's all good to go. So I'm liking it. I'm very happy with the overall performance of the deck. And again, all modes and all functions work. And it's kind of hard to see on camera here, but the white LED does dim with that somewhat. So that's okay. I don't care. That LED is not too bright to really be bothersome in the vehicle. So all modes and functions work as they should. Everything's pretty nice. This thing sounds, to me, I mean, it runs just like it did in 1977, 78. Again, I have not recapped it, nor will I, unless I absolutely have to. I've been running it for days now. I run it in all modes. I'm kind of a believer in that. Just run it in all modes. Let the thing sit in perpetuity. Like it ran 24 hours in AM, upper and lower, each individually. And yeah, it's all good. And I came back and did that after the alignment just to make sure nothing moved around. Now, if something moved around and something was out, yeah, then we got to start, looking at capacitors. But this thing's pretty darn stable. It biased out super, super easy. Nothing was acting up, so no recap for this 138. Okay, I'm just not from that camp anyway. Okay, you guys have a good one. Thanks for watching. Please leave questions or comments down below. Tell me what you think about Project 138. This is a sweet little radio. All right, on to the next one. Stay tuned. We've got another one. Actually, I've got 2 more coming up. Cheers.